I lost 55 pounds, quit nicotine, paid all the rent, and changed my entire life for her, but she dumped me over a nap. Am I crazy, or is she being unreasonable? My 27F girlfriend and I, 26M, have been together for just shy of a year. Throughout our relationship, we have had many fights and arguments. We've worked through a lot, but no one has ever cheated or done anything horrible. We both expressed before dating that we wanted to push each other to be better people. She started our relationship going to the gym and meal prepping, something she enjoyed and found made her stable. I wanted to go to the gym every day and eat healthy, something I had been working on to get back into and doing in the past. I'm currently down 55 pounds from when we first started talking. Her last relationship, and only relationship, was with a POS man-child who was abusive. It was a few years before that relationship ended, and her and I began dating. Every time we've argued, I'm always the one at fault. Even when I know it's not my fault, I put myself in her shoes and apologize. I can think of only 2 times in a year she has owned up to being wrong, but mostly blames me for things that, in my opinion, are not actually because of me. She's expressed frustrations with me, bigger things like previously sleeping too much, not following through, and a host of smaller things. Recently, we started going to the gym every morning. I've been waking up at 6 a.m. to go without problem. We've built a routine in the evenings I've had to practically beg her to do. I've expressed it's the only way I can function is to go to bed at a decent hour and get 7 hours of good sleep. She can function on 5 and doesn't seem to understand why I need so much. The breakup stems from last night where she told me she was done and checked out, and I explained and expressed to her, after she said some very hurtful things, that I've done everything she's asked. But it's never good enough. I've told her we're going to the gym, yet she says, it's only been 4 days in a row. I tell her I've done all the household chores in addition to my physically labor-intensive job. It's not good enough. She said it's taken a year and that I've stepped on her and don't care about her by not doing everything she's asked, which I have. It's just taken time. I've completely changed my diet to 100% healthy foods, done everything she's asked me to do in regards to making her feel loved. Cut my sleep patterns back from 10-11 hours a day to 7. Keep our apartment in pristine clean, she has OCD condition. Busted butt to make sure her financial needs are met. I pay the entire rent $1,600. Quit dipping and am done with nicotine. Lost 55 pounds by a year of healthy habits. Today we woke up and went to the gym like normal. After getting home, I made her and I breakfast and I didn't feel good, so I laid down. I didn't have work today. I ended up falling asleep for 2 hours. I didn't get much sleep last night because of the argument, about 5 hours if that. When I woke up, she said she's done. She said she's done because it's a slap in the face to take a nap when she's told me that she sees it as lazy, even though 95% of everything we've worked so hard for and the routines we've set are in place. Am I delusional in thinking she's not seeing it clearly? Am I at fault? How do I help make her see how far I've come and how much effort I've put in? How do I help her understand that I've overcome so much and set so many healthy habits that me falling asleep isn't purposely a slap in the face to her? Thank you. Update 1. After everything that went down, I spent the rest of the day trying to figure out what the hell was actually going on. Was I delusional? Was she? Or was this just the inevitable outcome of 2 people trying to mold each other into something they weren't? I've been doing a lot of self-reflecting since she said she was done. And honestly, I've realized something that's been staring me in the face for a while, but I was too caught up to see. It's not about the nap. It was never about the nap, or the gym, or the diet, or any of the other stuff we've argued about over the past year. It's about control. When I started thinking back, it hit me how much of my life has revolved around her expectations. Like, I get that relationships are about compromise, but this feels like something different. She has this picture in her head of what a perfect partner should be, and I've been breaking my back trying to fit into it. But here's the kicker. No matter how hard I try, that picture keeps shifting. It's like I'm chasing something that's always just out of reach. So let me tell you what happened next. After I woke up from that 2-hour nap, she sat me down and said she needed to talk. But this wasn't just the usual, "you're not doing enough" lecture. This time, she started listing out everything she feels I've failed at since we got together in detail. Like, she literally had examples prepared. She brought up the nap, obviously, but also little things from months ago, like the time I forgot to text her back while I was at work, or the time I didn't fold the laundry exactly the way she likes it. And she said all of this with this cold, detached tone, like she'd been keeping score and was finally ready to cash in. I just sat there, letting her talk, because honestly, I didn't even know what to say. The part that really got to me was when she said, "I don't think you actually care about me the way you say you do." Like what? I've been bending over backward trying to meet her needs, and she still thinks I don't care? When she finished her monologue, I asked her one question. What would it take for you to feel like I'm enough? She didn't answer right away. She just stared at me, like the question hadn't even occurred to her before. Finally, she said, "I don't know. I just know this isn't it." That was the moment something shifted for me. I realized that no matter what I do, it's never going to be enough, because she doesn't even know what she wants. She's projecting all this pressure and frustration onto me, but half of it isn't even about me. It's about her ex, her insecurities, her need for control, stuff I can't fix no matter how much I try. I told her I needed some space to think, and I left the apartment. I drove around for a while trying to clear my head, but I ended up at this park we used to go to when we first started dating. Sitting there, I remembered how different things used to be. Back then, we laughed all the time. We supported each other without making it feel like a chore. Somewhere along the way, that changed. Now it feels like a constant competition to see who's putting in more effort, who's sacrificing more, who's winning at the relationship. When I got back home, she was waiting for me. She looked upset but didn't say anything at first. Finally, she asked, "Are you leaving me?" And here's the thing, I didn't know how to answer. Part of me wanted to say yes, just to end the cycle. But another part of me still loves her, still wants to believe we can fix this. I told her I wasn't sure yet, that I needed more time to figure out what I wanted. She didn't take that well. She accused me of giving up on her, of not being willing to fight for our relationship. I told her that's not true, but that I can't keep fighting alone. She stormed off and locked herself in the bedroom. I ended up sleeping on the couch. The next morning, things were weird. She was being overly nice, like she was trying to make up for the argument, but didn't want to actually apologize. She even made me breakfast, which she never does. I appreciated the gesture, but it felt off. Like she was trying to smooth things over without addressing the real issues. We went to the gym like usual, but the tension was still there. She kept asking me if I was okay, and I just kept saying, "I'm fine," because I didn't know what else to say. I'm not fine. I'm exhausted, mentally, emotionally, physically. I feel like I've been carrying this relationship on my back for months, and I don't know how much longer I can keep going. Later that day, I got a text from one of my friends asking if I wanted to grab a drink. Normally I'd say no, because she doesn't like it when I go out without her, but this time I said yes. I needed a break. I needed to talk to someone who wasn't her. When I told her I was going out, she didn't say anything at first, but I could tell she was pissed. She just nodded and said, "Okay." But when I was about to leave, she stopped me and said, "If you walk out that door, don't bother coming back." I froze. I couldn't believe she was giving me an ultimatum over something so small. I asked her if she really meant that, and she said, "I need to know that you're committed to this relationship." I told her, "I've been committed, but I'm not going to let you control every aspect of my life." And then I left. I don't know what's going to happen next. Part of me thinks this might actually be the end. But another part of me is hoping that this is the wake-up call she needs to see how toxic this has become. Either way, I can't keep living like this. Something has to change. Update 2. It's been a whirlwind since my last post, and honestly, I didn't expect things to unravel the way they did. I've taken the past week to process everything and figure out where I stand, and here's where I'm at. After I walked out that night, I ended up at a friend's place. We grabbed a couple of beers, And for the first time in what felt like forever, I vented. I told him everything. How I'd bent over backward to make this relationship work, how I'd sacrificed my mental and physical well-being trying to meet her endless expectations, and how, no matter what I did, it was never enough. He listened, nodded, and then said something that hit me like a ton of bricks. Dude, you're not in a relationship. You're in a performance, and she's the only one clapping. That stuck with me. I went back home later that night, determined to have a real conversation with her. Not another fight, not another attempt to fix things, but a conversation about whether we even wanted the same future anymore. When I got back, she was sitting on the couch waiting for me. She didn't look angry this time. She looked sad. Before I could say anything, she started crying and apologizing, saying she didn't mean to push me away, that she was scared I was going to leave, and that's why she'd been so controlling. She admitted that she still carries a lot of baggage from her past relationship, and she's terrified of being abandoned. She said she knows she hasn't been fair to me and that she wants to work on it, but she doesn't know how. For a moment, I felt relief. Finally, she was acknowledging what I'd been trying to tell her all along. But then I realized something. I didn't feel the urge to comfort her. I didn't feel the need to say, "It's okay, we'll figure it out." Instead, I felt empty, like I'd already checked out and was just going through the motions. I told her I appreciated her honesty, but I didn't know if I could keep doing this. I explained that I love her, but I can't keep sacrificing myself to make her feel secure. I need a partner, not a project. She cried harder and begged me to stay, saying she'd go to therapy. She'd do whatever it takes to make things work. But as much as I wanted to believe her, something in my gut told me that it was too late. The next morning, I packed a bag and told her I was going to stay with a friend for a while. She didn't try to stop me this time. She just nodded and said, "I'll wait for you." But the thing is, I don't think I'm coming back. Since leaving, I've started to feel like myself again. I've been hitting the gym, spending time with friends, and even picking up some old hobbies I'd forgotten about. It's like I'm rediscovering who I am outside of that relationship. And honestly, it feels good. Looking back, I don't regret the time we spent together. She taught me a lot about myself, about relationships, and about what I want and don't want in a partner. But I also learned that love isn't enough if it's one-sided. A relationship should lift you up, not weigh you down. For anyone reading this who's in a similar situation, here's my advice. Don't lose yourself trying to fix someone else. You can love them, support them, and encourage them, but at the end of the day, they have to do the work themselves, and sometimes the best thing you can do for both of you is to walk away. As for her, I hope she finds the healing she needs. I truly do. But it's not my job to be her safety net anymore. It's time for both of us to move on.